talk. So I want to talk about Marco Rubio's speech in Munich, which is that's a future president of the United States right there, Marco Rubio. And it's a thing. A thing with Marco. He started out in the state legislature here in Florida, and then we saw him in the first campaign after he was in the U.S. Senate. And Marco Rubio, we really kind of seen him grow up and mature, haven't we? And his Munich speech, what I say in the title here, that it changes everything, it really does. If you've not watched it, watch it. I will probably cover it in detail on my next podcast. I might go through the whole thing. That is the most important speech that anyone other than Donald Trump has made in 11 years. That's when when Trump came down the escalator, and it just blew me away. The one quote that's getting all the play is the most important. He's in Munich. He's talking to the Europeans, and he says that we want to do it with you, defending Europe, defending everything, doing everything that we're doing, with people that are proud of their culture and their heritage. And what the left have done is convince people that are European or of European descent that we have something to freaking apologize, so a bunch of Somali pirates can come over here and make themselves millionaires, or Gavin Newsom can get involved in all of his political establishment corruption and just steal from the government and hang out in Napa Valley at their vineyards and all this bull crap. And you should not be ashamed of being an American. You should not be ashamed of being proud of Western civilization. I saw a couple years ago, one of these man on the street interviews with these college kids. Some guy, he was going around and he was asking black college students about American culture, and they would laugh. White people have no culture. European culture is Western civilization and the Renaissance, democracy, all those things. And Marco Rubio was, so we want people that are proud of their culture and their history. That's who we want to work with. And that is so true. And I'm here to tell you, this may be controversial, Marco Rubio should be the second MAGA president, not J.D. Vance. I love J.D. Vance, and I would much rather him be vice president again with Marco Rubio. Now, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance are best friends, and Marco Rubio said if J.D. runs for president, he will not run. But Marco Rubio should be the second MAGA president. You guys agree with that? He's got the it factor. He's right on everything. He has the gravitas that they're always talking about. And J.D. Vance, he could be vice president for 8 more years, J.D. could be Marco's vice president. That would make me very happy. But, if J.D. runs and gets the nomination, of course we're going to support him. He's a MAGA. But J.D. Vance, he's very good, but he doesn't have that it factor that Marco, what Marco Rubio has, very few people have. Trump has it, very few people have it. And that speech he gave was just amazing. I don't know, you guys agree with that? That, looking at Marco Rubio in Munich, that he should be the second MAGA president. Of course, we're going to support JD if he runs and gets the nomination. I'm not saying that. JD Vance should be president too, but Marco Rubio would be the best second MAGA president. There's no question in my mind. What we need to concern ourselves is primarily, internationally, is of course Latin America and getting that squared away. But getting Europe back on track. Europe's been taken over by the EU destruction that has just wiped out their continent. Europe's been conquered, and most of them are too liberal and arrogant to know it. Or they're proud that it's happened. There's a lot of those idiots too. I tell you, Marco Rubio is very, very impressive. I was so impressed with him. I'd love for him to be the second MAGA president. Rubio Vance, 2032. We need Trump for one more term, but just amazing. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'll do on the next podcast, but I would probably go through that speech. Because it's so good. It just is so good. Yeah. So a lot of people are wondering, and I'm going to answer this, where's Trump been lately? Because President Trump hasn't been in the news nearly as much as he normally is. And, there's all kinds of theories. All the haters are always looking to hate. And where he's been, and of course they always want to think that he's sick. That's how they live, but that's not it. President Trump and his staff have been working 24/7 on the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act will say, it's so appropriately named because what the SAVE Act will do is save this country. Right? So they are working so hard on the SAVE Act. And that's where he's been. And, we get the SAVE Act passed. Oh, and he's everything he's doing in this second term, of course, is important. But the SAVE Act is extra important, and it takes a lot of wheeling dealing. Look what they had. With Susan Collins. I couldn't remember her name. Susan Collins. They took off the requirement to prove you're a citizen when you're voting. See, this is what people don't get. These dummy trolls. Oh, he caved on the citizenship. He caved. He doesn't cave. President Trump always asks for a lot more than he wants, so he can make concessions by giving up things that he doesn't really expect to have in the final deal. And state-issued photo ID is what the goal is. The requirement of proving citizenship is a very difficult thing. You got to do these things in steps. The next go around down the road in a few years, we'll get maybe that. But requiring everybody to go through the process of getting a U.S. passport is a very difficult thing that would be held up in the courts forever and a day. I would die of old age before they got that through the federal court system. So that's just not a possibility. But state-issued photo ID requirements to vote, now that's important, and it's the most important of all of it. See, if state-issued photo ID is required to be checked off to vote, that means every ballot has to have a state-issued photo ID connected to it, right? That is the most important part of everything, and that's all President Trump really wants is the state-issued photo ID requirement to vote, and we're going to get it. And by the way, it's going to be the law for the midterm election. Think about that. President Trump said so. I mean, that's just fantastic. Just totally fantastic. If you've got to have a state-issued photo ID to vote, every single ballot has to have a state-issued photo ID connected to it. That cuts out 99% of the problems right there. 99%. And the Democrats, believe me, are in a freaking panic over that. That's what we want more than anything. State-issued photo ID requirement to vote. That's the main agenda. And don't let anyone tell you that President Trump caved on the U.S. citizenship requirement. Requiring proof of U.S. citizenship is so difficult. Everyone would have to get a passport. And that would not get through. There's no way you're going to get that through. That's just the way it is. You know, this is the state-issued photo ID will solve almost every single problem. You know, but you know, a lot of people, they don't understand how Trump operates. I don't get the art of the deal and read it. You'll see how Trump operates, or just follow the news. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel, and please, everyone, like the video. That helps spread the word a lot. State-issued photo ID. That's a big, big deal. Big, big deal. Oh, man. I mean, the things that President Trump has done in both terms, but in particular in the second term, are things that no one thought could get done. Overturning Roe v. Wade, closing down the border, deporting millions of illegals, state-issued photo ID to vote. I mean, these are, you know, shutting down the cartels. These are things that no one thought possible. So much so that they didn't even try to do it. But he's doing it. That's right, he is doing it. And, you know, couldn't be more excited. And that's why you haven't seen him on television as much as you normally would. Although he's been out there, and plus the Nancy Guthrie saga has been dominating the news. But after they had that other blunder with the local sheriff, with that SWAT team raid that went to nowhere yesterday, that story is going to start to fade away from the news. I mean, I'm done with without a major development. I don't see myself talking too much about it, the Nancy Guthrie case, anymore. It's a typical corrupt Democrat, the sheriff, you know. Katie Pavlich, she's on News Nation. She just went there from Fox, and she was talking about how corrupt the sheriff and the prosecutor are. That's what you got with Democrats. But you know, in that speech, when Marco Rubio says that they, you know, we want to work with people that are proud of their history and their culture, you know, and that echoes what J.D. Vance said. J.D. Vance, when he did the first show, he filled in. He did the first Charlie Kirk show after the Never Trumpers killed Charlie, and J.D. Vance said on that show, was the one he had all the guests in, Bobby Kennedy, Susie Wiles. He did it from the White House. He said there's no middle ground with the left. We have nothing to talk to them about. And you know, that's so true. There's no convincing these lunatics. So why work with them? We want to work with people that are on board with us, and that's what we're going to do. But that if you've not seen that the Munich speech of Marco Rubio, watch it after you're done watching me. I mean, that man, that's a president. We're so excited. Our second Florida president. President Trump's our first Florida president, and we could have Marco Rubio. Florida is basically controlling the country, which I'm, being a Floridian, I'm very excited about that. This is the best state with the best people. Mm-hmm. I was so impressed with Marco. You know, everybody in the Trump cabinet is great. I mean, they're all great. But Marco Rubio, he's done so. He's probably the greatest. I think he is the greatest Secretary of State we've ever had. We've never had a Secretary of State. I was talking about this on the program last week. That we've never had a Secretary of State like Marco Rubio, who's done so much to help the American people. All the other ones are working to help foreigners in foreign countries, and Marco Rubio is doing things to help us, like President Trump, right? I'd like to see Rubio Vance. Let Vance be vice president again. It'd be kind of cool if JD was vice president for 8 more years. Vice presidents don't have term limits. As vice president, he could be Marco Rubio's vice president. That'd be pretty cool. Would you guys like that? Rubio Vance. How's that for a ticket? That's a great ticket. It's a great ticket. Although J.D. Vance would be great to take over Turning Point, USA. He could do a lot of good there. No, vice presidents, no, he can be vice president again. The term limit's on the president. He could be vice president again. In fact, they were talking about Bill Clinton running for vice president in 04 and 08. The presidents have term limits. Vice presidents don't. They don't have term limits. I mean, if you could choose, we love them both. We love J.D. Vance. We love Marco Rubio. But who would you rather be the second MAGA president? Marco or J.D.? Let me know in the chat. Marco or J.D.? Who would you like to be the second MAGA president, if you could pick? We love them both. They're both future MAGA presidents, but who would you rather be the next MAGA president? Marco or J.D.? More Rubio, but little split there, little split. We like them both a lot. We want them both to be president. Yeah, well, it looks pretty evenly split. But I think Marco Rubio, they're both great. I mean, you know, when it comes to the debates, J.D. Vance is tops in the debates. So whatever Democrat idiot they would run against him, he would probably perform better in a presidential debate than Marco Rubio a little bit, because he's just got that special skill set. They're both great. I mean, they're just both great. The biggest problem we have with the Trump administration is we have too many future MAGA presidents, right? Marco, J.D., Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, right? Marco Rubio stay Secretary of State. It's not a bad idea. But who's more likely to win, J.D. or Marco? A national election, who's more likely to win, J.D. or Marco? Which of them would be more likely to win the national election, J.D. or Marco? I would give the edge to that one to Marco Rubio. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem having an overflowing bench. I know. Those are the kind of problems you want to have. So we don't have to run any more McCains or, you know, jerks like that. Yeah, I think Marco, you have to give the needle to him so far, is more likely to win a national election. I think so. They both could be victorious, but I think Marco's a little more of a favorite in that. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. Talking about the general election. The general election. I will be on the air tomorrow, live on the radio. Tomorrow's President's Day, so we got to celebrate President Trump on President's Day. Everybody takes off on President's Day, not me. I'll be working on the air and taking your calls tomorrow on Monday, celebrating the greatest president, the 45th and 47th president, Donald Trump. How could you take off on President's Day? That's Donald Trump's day. Exactly. So tomorrow will be a celebration of President Trump. Yeah, it's a little chilly this morning. I might take the MAGA scooter for a ride today. It's going to be in the 70s today, so it's nice. Nice day. I took it for a ride yesterday, but I was thinking about going on a long ride today. You're working? Yeah, I could take off tomorrow, but you know, I've got the MAGA cruise coming up next month, so I'll be off for a week. I am going to live stream from the cruise, so, which I don't normally do, but I am going to live stream from the cruise this year. And those of you that are going, oh man, we're going to have a great time. If you're going on the MAGA cruise, make sure you go to your cruise planner and pick your boarding time and sign up for the shore excursions. And you might want to touch base with Ian, our travel agent from Cruise and Travel Depot, on Monday, and make sure you're locked in for the shore excursions and get your boarding time squared away if you've not done it. The way it works on cruise ships is you get to pick a boarding time so there's no crowd at the port. It's very... I get to board anytime I want, they told me, which I'm all excited because it's like my group. I was like, oh wow, really? So the first time you can board is 10 a.m. because they got to get the people off from the previous cruise, and then they clean the ship. So the earlier you get on, the quicker the party begins, because the cruise begins as soon as you step on board. But this is going to be a great one. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And those of you that are going, I can't wait to see you. Oh, the MAGA cruise is awesome. It's on the Celebrity Beyond. Yep. I'm very excited. I was watching some videos this morning on packing for the cruise because I always overpack. No, Marco Rubio was spectacular. That speech was great. Now, last year, J.D. Vance spoke in Munich, and he kicked their butts. He did great. He did great, didn't he? Oh, man. He did a great job last year, J.D. Vance, but Marco was just so good. So good. So impressed with Marco. I feel like we've watched Marco Rubio grow up, right? And I am a little biased because Marco Rubio is a Floridian, and I'm a Floridian. And we're the same age. He's Gen X, I'm Gen X. We're the same age. I don't like Gen X getting passed over for millennial. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about 2028. We got the SAVE Act coming in, which is a big blow to the Democrats. The SAVE Act will be in effect for the midterms in 26. President said so. Mm-hmm. State-issued photo ID required to vote. That's a big blow to the Democrats. On top of the fact they have no issues and weak candidates. I mean, AOC in Munich looked like a dummy. She is a dummy, but she's usually protected, and the reporter asked her a softball that she thought would be an easy question for AOC, and AOC looked like an idiot. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she was, AOC's embarrassment was so bad, even she was embarrassed. And it takes a lot for that narcissistic moron to be self-aware enough to be embarrassed, you know what I mean? But she knows she looks stupid. I haven't seen her look that dumb since she couldn't figure out how to use the garbage disposal. Remember that when she first moved into her apartment in D.C.? Mm-hmm. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I went to Wawa because I really didn't want to go to Starbucks. I was sorry, but Dunkin' Donuts isn't open this early on Sunday, so I go to Wawa. And any of you guys got a Wawa where you are? It's a gas station with a pretty nice convenience store. They have all right coffee, but the coffee, when you get the coffee creamer is like the coffee creamer you would have at home. They have it like in the cartons, like you would buy for your own refrigerator. So it's a community thing, which I've never been too crazy about. But I go into Wawa to get coffee, and I see the coffee prep area where they have the creamer, and there was like this homeless bag lady. She was leaning over like this, with her mouth breathing on all the creamers. And I got the hell out of there. I'm like, what? There's no way I am going to use those coffee cups and use that creamer that this bag lady is breathing all over. It was crazy. So I got the hell out of there. I'm not going to go back. I don't like their public creaming system that they have there. I mean, golly, what diseases could she possibly have? Freaking botulism, for all I know. I don't know. Exactly. I got the hell out of there. Who knows? I mean, what are some of the diseases that the homeless carry, that come out, that they breathe out? Botulism? I don't know if you get botulism from that, but I don't want to find out. What is the, what's that disease that Doc Holliday had? I forgot what he had. Tuberculosis. Thank you very much. Yes, that's the one. TB. Tuberculosis. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about tuberculosis when she's leaning over, like the camera right here is the coffee creamers and the coffee cups, and she's like, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? The tuberculosis incubator here. Got the hell out of there, and I'm not going back. Hepatitis. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was like, this is nuts. This is freaking nuts. It was gross. It's freaking gross, man. Exactly. Yeah, I was going to live stream from Wawa. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's the Wawa where I saw the Parkland shooter at. I know. I don't know. She was pretty old. If she has any STDs, she got them a long time ago. Can you get what STDs can you get from her breathing on the coffee creamer? It's like I'm sitting here, and all these people are doing mobile orders at Starbucks. They walk in and walk out. I always go in and order my coffee. When you do your mobile order, right? They set it there so it's waiting for you, and there's like 5 of them. And when I'm in there waiting for my coffee, people come in, they touch every coffee cup, right? To see if they don't just look and see if their name's on the tag. They pick it up, and usually they pick it up from the top. Is this mine? Oh no, this one's not mine. What about this one? And the average person touches 4 coffee cups. They come in with their hand on top where you put your mouth, and they just probably left their house and went to the bathroom and didn't wash their hands. I mean, I'm not a germ freak like Howard Hughes, but you know, you got to have some, you got to protect yourself a little bit. Would you want to drink that, you know, that 4 or 5 people put their hand on the top of your coffee cup where you're putting your mouth before you drank it? No. You might as well go with the homeless lady and get tuberculosis. It cracks me up. I sit there and I just watch it, and they, you know, I don't do the mobile order, but if I did, I would look, you can look like this. I wouldn't pick everybody's up. Some of them will pick it up here, right? See, because they got the tag. See right there? It says Brian on it. You can just look at the tag. You can just go, okay, no, that's not mine. And it tells you what it is, too. They're like this. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I know. Exactly. It's so stupid. People get sick doing the... Yeah, well, there's no drive-through. I know, it's gross. It's gross. I know. You don't have to be a germ freak to be, you know, not like germs and be just normal. That's normal, avoiding germs. It cracks me up when I'm sitting there and I watch people do it. I'm like, what the hell? So that's why I never do mobile ordering, ever. Ever, ever, ever. It's freaking insane. See, I'm deciding, I want to go on a long ride on my MAGA scooter, my Vespa today. So I'm debating, and to make a vlog for my other channel, and I'm debating if I will drive up the beach road or drive through the Everglades. Which would you guys do? Well, if you're not from Florida, you'd probably want to go to the beach, right? So I don't know if I want to drive up the beach or drive through the Everglades. I don't know. And make a video for my other channel. I'm going to Key West in a couple weeks. Some friends of mine have a house in Key West, and I'm going down to visit. I haven't been to Key West in years, and I'm driving down to Key West to stay with them for a weekend in a couple of weeks. I'm definitely going to make a vlog of Key West and the drive to Key West. The beach, well, when you live in Florida, the beach can get boring, you know. And plus, although it's early now, I have to go home and get the Vespa, you know. But the beach, the traffic gets stop and go. If I go through the Everglades, there's not so much traffic. Fascist KKK. KKK are Democrats. The fascist, you know, Hitler, you know, was a socialist. Nazism was National Socialism, okay? So the Ku Klux Klan were Democrats, and Hitler was a socialist. You guys think the Everglades? Yeah. See, if I take the road that takes me way out west through the Everglades, there's like no lights. There's a light like every 10 miles, right? So it's like a straight ride. No, it's not false. National Socialism. That's the Nazi Party. National Socialism. You ever heard of National Socialism? They don't like to put that in the history books because they don't like to put socialism in league with Hitler. But yeah, he was a National Socialist. National Socialism. That's a socialist. Like AOC is a socialist. Mamdani's a socialist. And heck, his allies were the Muslims, right? The Arabs were allied with the Nazis. They had a common enemy. The Jews. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't support term limits. I believe the term limit should be decided by the voters, the American people. How radical is that, huh? It's hard to know history when they're brainwashing you so much, right? That's why I always talk about the internet was supposed to make people smarter. And it's just brainwashed them more. Mm-hmm. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. But I don't like to ride in the dark this early hour of the morning, because this early hour of the morning, and it's kind of, even President's Day, a lot of people are off on President's Day, so it's kind of like a 3-day weekend. So there's a lot of drunks coming home from bars, 4 or 5 a.m. So I don't like riding the MAGA scooter in the dark early morning hours too much. Why? Shouldn't the people be able to vote for who they want to vote for? It's so typical. Liberals support term limits. I think the voters can decide. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, if you haven't seen Marco Rubio's speech in Germany, you got to watch it today in its entirety. It was just amazing. Just absolutely freaking amazing. It really was. I'm still not, I'm figuring out how to use these Meta glasses. They do all kinds of cool things. I can make videos, like right now, it's videotaping. Yeah, there's a cover you can put on the light. They have the light on so people know you're recording. But there's a cover you can get to cover the light. Say the recorder's off. They do all kinds of some of the coolest things these Meta glasses do is translation, right? If somebody is speaking to me in Spanish or French or a bunch of languages, and they're updating it still because it's still kind of new, it'll translate it in here. And I can hear, you will I've done this a few times, you'll hear the translation in the language that they're speaking to you in. And if you go up to a sign that's written in another language and you ask it to translate the sign, it'll translate the sign for you. If you're looking at like if I'm looking at these bushes here, it'll tell me what kind of plant that is. If you're looking at a car and you ask it what kind of car it is, it'll tell you what kind of car it is. It's amazing. You can use them to talk on the phone with, and everybody I talk to on them, the sound quality they say is better than the phone itself. They're pretty cool, and you can listen to. I can use it for the mic here, if I want. I just didn't because I want to save the battery for my ride today because I might do some filming on the ride. But it does so much, and I'm still figuring out how to use all the commands. You listen to music on it, listen to me on YouTube on it if you want. And they're amazing. I didn't think they were that big of a deal, and I'm like, I don't know. And my wife got them for me for Christmas, and I'm like, okay. And then when I saw what they did, I'm like, these are. When I first got them, I talked about them a little bit on a video. The Meta glasses, see, the problem is, and the reason everyone doesn't have them is because no one likes Zuckerberg. He's such a weirdo freak and jerk. Nobody likes him, and he's like the face of the Meta glasses. So I think it hurts them. But the Meta glasses are the biggest advancement so far as gadgets go. Like little trinkets. The biggest advancement since we got the iPod, right? When we first got the iPod, people forget, when you could put all your records, cassettes, and CDs, and you got them on an iPod, that was crazy, wasn't it? So I would say this is the biggest advancement in tech gizmos since the iPod or the introduction of the iPhone. And you don't have to get them like these. Have the transition lenses, so they're sunglasses too. And they also come in. These are the traditional Ray-Bans, which I like, But you can get them in different styles of Ray-Bans, and I think they have Oakley too. Don't they come in Oakley? But Zuckerberg being the face of them does damage to them, but they're absolutely amazing. I mean, I just and I don't even know how to use them completely yet. And the pictures and video it takes is very high quality. The only complaint I would have, the only negative, is the video is landscape like I'm in now, with this video, and I wish it was the regular traditional style, because if they were, I'd vlog with them, But I might film when I'm on the Maga scooter today for the ride. I might do some filming. But I love them. And I can even watch, I've done this on television. I put on like Spanish language TV, and it'll translate what they're saying in real time, which is crazy. But you can do it, like if I went to a store, and like if I went down to Little Havana, and they won't speak Spanish to me in Little Havana because they know I'm a gringo, so they always talk English to me. But if they were speaking Spanish, this would translate. It's crazy. It's freaking insane. Meta should have me as their spokesperson. I would sell so many of these freaking glasses. I mean, I have them on anytime I leave the house. I don't wear them around the house too much. But Maga scooter, yeah, it's my Vespa. It's the Maga. It's actually the Maga scooter 2.0. The original Maga scooter doesn't run anymore. Oh yeah. Everybody should have these. And you can see the speakers. The speakers are amazing. When you're listening to the music in these, oh my goodness. I have it connected to my Spotify, so I listen to music and, you know, I can listen to podcasts on it. It's amazing. And you can set it to different voices. I use, some of them are celebrity voices, you know, that it talks to you in. So I have it talk to me in the Kristen Stewart voice, you know, from Frozen, and she's married to that weirdo actor. Not Kristen Stewart. No, that's the one. Oh no. What's the name of the actress that's in that TV show, The Good Place? Not Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart's from the vampire movies. What's the one from the Good Place? What's her name? That's the voice that it talks to me in. I can't think of her name. Oh. I cannot remember her name. But it's got a whole bunch of voices to choose from. But that's just the one I chose. But it's better. I don't even wear my Apple Watch. You don't even need your Apple Watch anymore. Kristen Bell. Yes, thank you very much. Kristen Bell. Yeah, it's the voice of Kristen Bell. Thank you very much. No, it's no endorsement. I have no paid endorsements or anything from Meta Glasses. I wish I did, because these, I mean, I got to tell you, you know, these are just amazing. And you can get them prescription, but I don't need a prescription. I do wear readers. Like when you see me wearing glasses on YouTube, those are just cheap reading glasses. So these aren't prescription, but I went and I found these. I was going to go to Lens Crafters and get, these have transitional lenses in them, but I was going to get new transitional lenses that had the readers in them. And I looked at the price. It was so freaking expensive. And then I found where you can get, I bought these stick-on reading lenses that I have on the inside, so I can see the chat. See them? You can see them a little bit if I put them up close to the lens. And those actually, you wet them and you stick them on, and they work really well. Like I wouldn't be able to read the chat without it. I have 20/20 vision, but up close I need reading glasses. But when I'm live streaming and doing the show in the mornings or my podcast, I wear regular readers because the whole lens is a reading glass. Yeah, these are cool. And I got these were like, I don't know, I got these on Amazon for like 12 bucks. And it took me a minute to figure them out. I had them in backwards. And you just wet them and you put them there. A lot of people get them for sunglasses and things like that. But to get transition lenses with the reading prescription was like $600. I'm like, forget about that. But anyway, no, I wish that I had a endorsement deal with the Meta Glasses, because this is like I never leave home without them. And it's pretty cool because I have them off now because I'm live streaming. But if I get a call, I can answer the phone on it. You know, it reads me my text messages. If I get a text message, it'll read the text message to me. And I can reply to the text message with voice. Same thing with emails and DMs and everything. It's crazy. I haven't used it for that too much. But they are pretty awesome. I know, I'd be a great spokesman for the Meta Glasses. It is a little chilly today. I can read when I got the glass. I can't read the chat now, but now I can. Yes. So back to what we were talking about. So, yeah, Marco Rubio, watch that speech today. The Nancy Guthrie case, that's pretty much over. I mean, what a bunch of dumbasses and clowns they've got in that sheriff's department. You know, what a bunch of clowns. I mean, what was that SWAT raid all about the other day? That story's going to fade away now. People are going to get, I mean, I'm tired of it. I mean, the sheriff is such a dummy, you know. until there's a big development. That's the second time that they've come in with the SWAT and detained people, and everyone, oh, they got him, they got him. But you know, I'm just wondering if they have information that she was abducted and killed by an illegal, and they're slow walking the case because they don't want to let an illegal get the blame for it. You know, who knows? We'll find out eventually, maybe. But the sheriff said yesterday it may take years for them to solve the case. Really? That video they had was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I am shocked at how many cars are on the road. It's Sunday morning, 7 minutes till 6 a.m., and the road is just filled with cars. Why should Americans be ashamed? Have any of you gone to see the isolated vocal track of Bad Bunny singing at the Super Bowl yet? I mean, that just blows my mind. I mean, Milli Vanilli sang better without the lip syncing than Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, just without auto-tune, he cannot sing. I almost felt bad for him. He sounds mentally challenged. It's really bad, isn't it? It's the worst. You know, a lot of times people criticize lip syncing, you know, and when I go to a concert, I don't want them to lip sync. I mean, you know, but people lip syncing to their own music typically is what happens, and it's a mix of both if they're doing a lot of dancing. But Bad Bunny just cannot sing. He cannot sing. And you know what? I don't think he knows. And here he is, you know, Ricky Martin is playing backup to Bad Bunny. The great Ricky Martin. Lacey Peterson. We know who killed Lacey Peterson, her scummy husband. My wife and I, we watched a multi-part documentary on the Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson case. Guy's guilty as hell. Guilty as hell. And we know who killed Natalie Holloway, too, that Urine Vandersloot. He's in a Peruvian prison right now. Sean Benet, we really don't know. That one's been kind of unsolved. But see, these other killings you're talking about, you know, like Lacey Peterson, that was like 2002, right? Natalie Holloway was what year was Natalie Holloway, you know? And John Benet was in the 90s. You didn't have the technology we have today, see? Now there's cameras everywhere. So, you know, when you're in a, you know, like right now, not just the camera I'm using, you know, the Starbucks is right here. I'm in a strip center. You know, I mean, there's how many cameras are right here? Right here filming me right now. And when I drove here, how many cameras caught me driving here? It'll catch me going home on the road. So I just find it hard to believe that they don't have cameras at least at a nearby intersection of all the cars that came and went from that community during the window of opportunity for that crime. You know, there's cameras everywhere now. Those other ones, they largely went unsolved because we didn't have as many cameras around as we have now. Everyone's got them on their house and everything else. So, you know, so many murders are solved by that. So there's really no excuse to the Nancy Guthrie case for them not to have better leads. Mm-hmm. Bugs Bunny can sing better than Bad Bunny. I think I might have to wait for it to get warm. It's a little cold to be riding the manga scooter today. I'm spoiled being a Floridian. The weather's going to be nice today, though. No doubt about it. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Judgmental. Well, aren't you judging me? So you're calling yourself a moron? You're a judgmental moron? Yes. Yes. cameras can't store infinite data. When they first got the call, the sheriffs, if they were halfway competent, would have gotten all of the footage on Monday after, when they first got the call. Yep. And they would have had everything. I'm sure that neighborhood is filled with cameras. And you're telling me in that liberal neighborhood there's no Teslas around that have cameras on them? You know? Of course there's Teslas there. A bunch of environmental nutcases in Tucson. Think they're saving the world all the time with their global warming scam. The sheriff doesn't want to solve the case. There's something about it that he just doesn't want to solve. Probably an illegal. That would be my first guess. All right, guys, I want to take off again. Make sure you subscribe. My name's Brian, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.